It's Mark and Cindy on the radio, 10 to 11 a.m. Well, it's Mark and Cindy, they've got a morning show. Every day I listen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mark and Cindy Show. And I am leading the discussion here because Cindy's not here. It sounds very odd for me to say the start of anything. Cindy's not here, but Big Al, my kid brother, is, and he's not second place, but he's definitely who I call to fall back on.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you bet. And also, we're having finally, and some of you are not going to believe this, but we do have Joe Beverley from Blue Ox, Paul Bunyan's sidekick, Blue Ox, Babe, is with us for Blue Ox Moving is what he does. And by the way, one thing Joe Beverley's going to do is talk to us about moving scams. Al, I don't know if you've ever been involved in a moving scam.
I understand they're real big and they're hard
They're
to get in
big,
a
yeah,
truck.
those scams, they are. Particularly if they got the four legs that will not be
Some
taken
of
off.
them do,
Al, you're a goober. But yes, that's true about that. But this is going to be very helpful. Plus, I need to know if Joe can help me move at some juncture.
Yeah, a moving scam. They take your furniture and
You don't know where it moved.
We'll see you over there. Now, okay.
It's moved.
I haven't heard of that. I'm interested.
Yeah. Or maybe they move it the way Dad. Here's the pickup. Throw it in there. Get out of here.
Go.
And that's pretty much it.
Lose half of it on the way.
But we must not lose sight of the fact that this is the week to celebrate the 238th birthday of this nation, July 4th, 1776. Even though we declared independence, we were not independent. Of course, technically, you would say, "Wow, we declared it, so we are." Had we lost, we wouldn't have been out. Yeah. But we did, and the weird thing we mentioned yesterday was actually the Declaration of Independence was signed on July the 2nd. And we mentioned John Hancock's signature was the biggest because he assumed he was the only one signing it. He was the president of the convention, and he signed John Hancock real big, and the other guys, well, we need to sign it. Well, I thought there'd be a separate document for that. No, let's sign this one. And so they wrote theirs a little smaller because there were more fascinating stuff like that, Al.
Let's all take a minute and recite it, okay?
Recite it. Okay. A more perfect union. That's the thing we're looking for.
Yeah.
And do you know something, Al and Joe, that when the president swears allegiance, it's not to God, it's not to anything, but it's to the Constitution of the United States. I swear to uphold and defend the Constitution. And that's why when things go awry with presidents and they interpret something wrong, it is they've gone against their oath in that. And that's why it's a big deal.
I try not. Mom told us never to swear, so I
she
have
did.
a problem
You can't.
doing that.
That's where you say I affirm, I think.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's a replacement
And
word.
Al has never sworn, at least not to me, and if he did, Mom would be bad. By the way, at some juncture today, I am going to discuss, with Al's help here, I will need to fall back on him, how the lack of the 12th Amendment got Alexander Hamilton killed.
Sure,
It is so weird, and it has to do with the election of 1800, and it is eerie fascinating. Sure. Speaking of the 4th of July, which is coming actually on Friday, are Joe, you and Al, Joe, you do anything on the 4th that you can think of?
Yeah, just going to enjoy some time with the kids and family.
You're not going to be moving anyone.
No, we are off on the 4th.
Are you off on other holidays, by the way?
Christmas. That's about it.
Sense. You know, our garbage man, I don't think he's off Christmas. There is one day he's off, but I'm not saying he picks up my garbage, but he's technically still on the job. I don't know what it means, but it's pretty good. Al, how about you guys? Are you coming over to our house?
I'm getting away from the wife and the kids.
Are you?
No, we don't have anything planned. Tell you the truth, I didn't even think about the 4th of July.
Yeah, well, it's nothing big at 230. But this Saturday is when at the neighborhood they're shooting off the fireworks, and some of our church group are coming over. I don't know how many. It may not be many. Yeah. Anyway, we're supposed to go down and watch the fireworks, and we're supposed to entertain them and all. Anyway, if y'all want to come on, me and Kay at our house.
Wow.
So we've got to get it straightened out. Have you ever paid anyone to clean your house?
No, I have not. I would.
Al, I think we're going to do it. We've never done it before, but
it's a good time when you're retired. That's a great time to.
That's
maybe I have that backwards.
It's one of those things where I've got priorities, and whenever it comes time to we got to do something with the floors or something. No, I think I'm going to let.
I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, we may do that. A whole bunch of stuff happening on the news today. I don't know if you realize, but the Texas Lotto. that was drawn back in January 1st. Some person actually won it out of League City. And from January 1st, you got 6 months to claim that son of a gun, and he did not. And it was a pot of $12 million. And I don't imagine there's anyone slapping their heads because or he or she would have claimed it by now. Must have just lost the dadgum thing.
Probably so.
Al, would you want to know if you lost it?
No, gosh, no.
I tell you, I could blame someone and sue them probably if I'd been the one.
If that's an opening, yes, I would like to know. Yeah.
By the way, since the start of the lottery in Texas, which was 1995, and I don't have this off the top of my head, I happened to have read it earlier. 1995, there has been $837 million gone unclaimed. People won. The largest is $37 million, I believe. Somebody supposedly won and did not get it. Now, the store that had the winning ticket gets the money they're supposed to get, is my understanding. But the person who won the money doesn't. And by the way, the money last year, and now this is fascinating, or I wouldn't even share it with you.
Okay.
The state of Texas took in $4.4 billion in lottery, but they gave $2.8 billion away to the people who won stuff.
Yeah.
In other words, last year, $2.8 billion was given to people. $1.1 billion goes to schools. So out of 4.4, 1.1, and it was all supposed to go to schools, but the leftover $100 million goes to the state coffers. We don't really know, but I think there's a cigar.
Well, they got to print those tickets.
They've got to. And $100 million goes to printing of the tickets. It could be, there is expense on that.
The bank that holds all that money, that costs money.
And
you ever put $1 billion in the bank?
Let me think. Al?
Hang on.
No.
You know how long that takes?
No.
Really don't, Dick.
There's always a paper trail.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's so many.
That's why Dick isn't our host today, by the way, Al. That's why.
Speaking of scams,
Yes.
they're talking about, you take your ticket up to the store and they scan it. Oh, no, you're a loser. You want me to throw it away. And
Holy moly.
you could have won $1 million. And
If you didn't pay attention to that.
yeah.
How do you buy the
No, I
lottery
do not.
tickets?
Nope.
Joe, do you?
No.
Me neither. And they tell me, and I don't understand, that you can't win if you don't buy. Is that?
I don't know. I'll come back next week and do some
Check
research
that out.
on that.
I don't even know how much it costs to buy a lottery ticket. How much is a lottery ticket? How did they get even $4 billion?
Well,
I think it's $1.70. No, that's the toll road. Is $1.75.
I get them mixed up.
That's what they should do. They should do a
poll
2 for 1. You get the toll road. Here's your lottery ticket.
No, well,
Yeah,
the lotto,
really.
I think, is $1, but they've got them all the way up to a lot of money.
It's like ordering coffee. If you go in there, I want a larger game Texas
Light.
What? Yeah. I don't know what to ask for. Just too much stuff.
Just
they got
point.
the tickets, you get it, and the numbers, and wow. Okay.
Well, the reason I asked is because he gave this number. Is that just the lottery where they do the standard, like 6 balls come through and they have the cute lady, or is it like the tickets that you scratch? Does that include that number?
Now,
do you know?
good question. I don't know.
I think it includes all of them, is my
Right.
understanding.
Because
They're giving away money on those.
Because that
things,
makes
too.
sense that all that money's not going to everything because not that many people win the scratch-offs. Because that money's still in there.
Yeah, that's true.
That ticket's still out there to win, right? Is that how it works?
I guess. Those of you who are out there and actually won or know what the heck this thing's about, why don't you text us on Facebook or drop us a note and let us share that and share that with us, because we would really like to know more about this. Right now, what I am going to find out more about is coming from Joe over here, Joe Beverley, with the Blue Ox Moving Company.
Moving and storage, yep.
In storage, and you are the owner, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Let me ask you this, Joe. Why did you come up with Blue Ox? There's a
was my
billion
question.
names out there. I'm going to go with a fictitious animal that belonged to a giant who wasn't here either. How did that come
I don't
about?
think so.
Yeah, it's a tribute to my wife's dad. So he passed away. He had a steel company called Oxen Steel, and we just were trying to do something and put a name together. And one night we were laying in bed, came up with it, and thought it would be a great marketing for people to remember and kind of associate the ox with pulling the load and being strong behind the wheel.
And he looks good in blue.
He
so-
does. The blue is a good deal. Like if you were Blue Ox and you wore yellow and black, I would say, hey, quit. Just stop that right here. But president of the company, and you mentioned it's on the website that it is a family business. Who in the family is involved in Blue Ox, might I ask?
So myself, my wife helps with marketing and day-to-day HR stuff, and then I've been able to keep it close with family friends. So people that had interest in the business and really wanted to come in and employ them. So we consider it a family atmosphere.
Okay, good. I noticed that. Unless I'm mistaken, I read that every move involves a family member, or do you go along with?
Yeah, we're at the stage now where I can be involved in every move. So I do all the dispatching in the morning, give all the clients a call when we're en route, follow up with a courtesy call just to see how our service was done. So I'm pretty busy.
That's probably the reason why you backed out twice to be on our show. When it happened, I thought, of all, would David Letterman put up with this? And then I looked on his website and it said a family member goes to every move. I said, I bet that dadgum guy was at every move.
Oh, yeah.
Sheesh. But that is understandable. Let me ask you this. Where did you go to college?
Mary Hardin Baylor.
Mary Hardin Baylor. What did you major in?
Business.
Business. How did you come up with, I want to be in a moving business? What the heck possessed you?
When I was a kid, I worked in the moving industry during the summertime. Just in high school, thought it was a great thing to, for sports and kind of get my endurance up and get a little stronger. And it got into my blood, and I just kind of stayed with it all the way through.
A particular company or?
I started with all my sons in Maryland, and just really fell in love with the business and the customer aspect of it and working with the guys.
Fell in love with moving.
Man,
Joe,
that doesn't make sense. How, if I can ask,
please,
how far would you move somewhere?
Well, we're able to go all throughout the United States. So,
wow.
Yeah, coast to coast.
Wow. So we're talking, like in the picture on your website, there is not a semi, but there's a big truck. You have others, or would you just lease something to?
Yeah, no, we've got a semi. We've got local straight trucks that we utilize, and then we've got the ability to put it on a tractor and trailer and take it where you want it.
Cool.
And you, I guess one of the options is you come in and do the complete move. You go up in the attic, you get everything, box it up, and go.
We do it all, from packing to staging to loading, offloading, and unpacking, even if you need it.
I am so wanting to ask, but realizing he won't answer. Like I want to say, 1,900 square foot house.
Yeah.
Normal stuff in it. I mean, just normal, not junky. What would you charge? And I'm assuming you don't even make an estimate until you see what you've got.
That's right. Yeah, we come out and do a free in-home estimate and do a walkthrough. So we'll get an itemized list of everything that we're moving, get the scope of work that you need, right? Do you need packing? Do you need us to hold it for a certain number of days? And then be able to work out a price for you.
Okay, cool. I would think you would want them to be prepared, do a lot of boxing themselves, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, it depends. You've got some folks that are busy and traveling, and two people working in the household, they don't have time to do it, and that's where we can step in and come up with a solution for you.
We're going to take a break in just a second, and when we come back, we're going to find out about scams. We got to know this, but I also want to ask Joe. He's working in a situation that the public is involved in, trying to make these people happy. Particularly moving has got to be a chore, and maybe you've got some horror stories or something. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a little bit. Mark and Cindy Show with Big Al here and Joe Beverley from the Blue Ox. Stay with us. Back in a second.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial, and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
Do you ever wonder what's going on in the business community? Are you looking for ways to get plugged in? Cassandra Roshan here, Director of Membership Development with the Greater Conroe, Lake Conroe Area Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to invite you to tune in to Chamber Chat. Tune in the first Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. so you will be in the know for all Chamber happenings for the month. Each month, the Chamber offers 2 free lunch and learn sessions, a networking breakfast, business after hours, membership luncheon, as well as many other special events throughout the year. I will give you a rundown of all programs and events for the month, as well as interview our speakers and hosts of these events. So grab a cup of coffee and tune in to Chamber Chat the first Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. Chat with you then.
You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio now for your daily weather report. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2014. Today's weather forecast will be mostly sunny with a high near 93. Later tonight, will be partly cloudy with a low around 76. South winds 5 to 10 miles an hour.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Donalwick Public Relations. You've seen the billboards. That's right, Wicked Publicity. Contact them today at 832-326-1965 and visit wickedpublicity.com.
Running, swimming all day long. Running, swimming all day long. That's what makes a tadpole strong. That's what makes a tadpole strong. Hey, who your head?
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're listening to right here is the Navy SEALs marching cadence. Picture, if you would, a bunch of strong people, I guess men and women. Women can be Navy SEALs now, SEAL now. And they're marching and they're repeating whatever the guy says. Whatever he says, and you may not even understand it. You repeat it. I like hamburgers and onion rings. But no, I am not making fun of Navy SEAls. Oh my gosh, yeah, please.
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Marlena sit on his lap one time.
Well, I would be. That's pretty important.
Seemed like a nice guy and can talk about.
Military, Navy SEAls and stuff.
Yes,
like that.
and politics.
Yeah. By the way, I neglected to mention about Cindy's condition.
Who?
Cindy Cochran, the better part of the Mark and Cindy show. And yesterday, if you tuned in, you realized she tripped in a bank parking lot. She now owns part of the bank.
Right.
And she fell off the curb and hit her elbow. And she didn't say she cut it. She said she punctured it. Anyway, it has gotten infected. And she is now taking antibiotics, and antibiotics are very iffy. We've got so many antibiotics out there that to find one that actually works anymore is really tough.
Well, since she tripped, I was thinking it probably happened in the afternoon because she likes to drink.
Oh, she's a drinker,
but
like
no,
you've never.
I've caught her a few times in the morning.
Al's joking,
drunk.
by the way. She does not. It was slippery too.
Sorry, Sam.
It was slippery, and she hit. And I mentioned to her, Al, and this meant a lot to her, that it happened close to the time I wrote my article about falling in the movie theater, which if you haven't, you need to. It's fascinating. By the way, speaking of fascinating, we were talking to Joe Beverley here, and I've got to try to find out something about moving experiences or problems you might have had. Folks, Kay and I have moved at least 4 times in the last 10 years. And I've had friends, I've had Al involved and friends, and I've come close to losing friendships, just people helping me. I can only imagine if somebody asked me, Mark, here's however much money, move me. They're going to be mad at me at some juncture down there. What has happened, and how do you handle situations like that?
Well, you handle it with great patience.
I would guess.
So
I would call my wife. Do you do?
Yeah, I do. We've got a great support network. So, it's stressful moving. You're putting all of your stuff into somebody's truck, and you've got a couple of strangers there that you've never met. They're moving everything that you own. So, you got to kind of approach it from a customer first perspective and just step back, make sure you're communicating clearly with the client, and picking up on those little things when they're getting stressed out, because they may have been in this house for 15, 20 years, memories, life, and it's a huge transition. And you've always got somebody that will call in and be upset for one reason or another, and you sit back and you talk to them and you solve their problems and move on.
Joe, I can see me going to give an estimate for how much this is going to cost, and just talking to the person, I realize this is not good. This person, I can tell from what they're explaining to me, is not going to be happy no matter what. Do you run into that, and how do you handle such a thing?
Yeah, you do, and I think that at that point you've got to be honest with the client, right? You've got to tell them and talk to them. Say, look, what are your expectations, and then here's what we can provide you. And what a lot of companies, and this is where scams fall in, is that they'll come out and promise you the moon. I want this, and this, and they'll give you a very low price, and then come moving day, they don't deliver. Either on. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's good delivery. They don't deliver good shot.
Well, and they don't. So it's it becomes stressful, and they'll add on charges. They'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. So to avoid that, we do our in-home estimate, walk through, sit down with the client, and explain to them how we would handle a move from a professional standpoint. And then we give them the option: is this something that you want to do? And this is how we're going to do it. And then we deliver on that on the day of the move.
You deliver. Okay, that's the. I can understand the scammers. I mean, this is a thing where you, the person, the client doesn't know much about the process, I would think, and we are very vulnerable, just like car repair. Oh, I need to know such and such. Somebody sits down and explains this to you. How the scammers may even do what you do. How do you know? How would you recommend that someone know that, wow, we've got a good mover here, other than, of course, Blue Ox would be.
Well, Blue Ox needs to be your only mover,
exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm thinking right now.
But you need to, a lot of people will fall into the trap. They'll go online, movers in Conroe, and they'll pick the first 2 or 3 movers there. They've got an ad up and call, and it's a stressful thing already. They got a ton going on. They'll just get a quick quote over the phone. Mover will give them a low ball price and say, okay, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to move. And that sounds great because people are always, dollar conscious on moving day, and they're already spending a lot of money everywhere else. So stop there. If you've got anything over, 1,500 or 1,600 square feet, have somebody come out. Schedule it. Say, we want an in-home estimate. It should be free of charge to you as a client, and have them come out and do an itemized inventory of what you're moving, and then give you a price in writing.
Over the phone estimates, don't use. If it's a small place, I could understand that. One thing impressed me with some contractors. Al, I don't know if you've ever called on Dirty Birds, but when they came out, Dirty Birds, it's 2 ladies. They were great. They sat down and looked and even made recommendations and all, and said, and there was just something that I didn't get another bid because I saw how concerned they appeared and seemed honest. And that sounds, if somebody comes across like that, that's pointing out details and all. Worst case that you can recall that in your, I know you don't like to talk about, but
worst case. We've had last minute moves where it's been, we've been called out to a customer's house and they've got to be out by a certain time.
Oh, yeah.
And they, after we've gone through and had the walkthrough and, given them a quote on it, set those expectations. They were supposed to have everything packed or the garage cleaned out or whatever it might be, and they have nothing done. So our crews show up and it's just chaos. The client is, we got to move, we got to get out. And that calls for us to have to come out. Somebody from our office go to the house and kind of explain to them and walk through what we need to do.
Yeah.
And it gets to be very, very stressful at that point.
Right, and let's face it, you're either going to lose money or you're going to have to up your fee on something like that.
Yeah.
That is a bear. Let's say you have chosen someone to move you and you end up with, they've got all of your stuff and something didn't right or they deliver it. Hey, you didn't do. What's your recourse there in the middle of something? What can you do?
You stop them, right? So some warning signs to watch out for when they come to your house. Make sure that they have a truck that got their DOT, Department of Transportation number on it, that they're authorized to do work, and it's got their logo. Make sure the contract has that also. You don't want to sign anything that is blank or doesn't have a company letterhead on it or something you haven't already had a chance to review before moving day, because unfortunately these guys can load your stuff up and once they get it on the truck and over to the delivery end, tell you a different price, and you've got to go the civil action that way. Right. I mean, you can call the police, they'll come out and they'll try to help mediate it, but it's a tough recourse if you don't have all of that documentation beforehand.
Right. And they've got the pressure on. I mean, okay, we're going to put this off 2 weeks and try to settle this because you're not going to sell it. That is, wow, more than, that's a tough job on you, and that's a tough job on the person getting to move. But my thought is I will never move myself, and I don't have, it doesn't seem like I've got a lot of stuff, but I'm bound to. And it comes down to just figuring out, is it worth calling Al and my other brothers?
No,
or
it's not.
It's not. We're getting this thing packed. To me, your toughest job would be, and this is a guy that never did anything professional to speak of in my life, but unloading. And if they want you to put it somewhere, that's a bear, isn't it?
Yeah,
I keep mentioning bears.
And you should be mentioning oxes, right?
Oxes, exactly, blue oxes.
So, what we always, we send an email or, some bullet points to all of our clients beforehand, how to prepare for your move, right? So you should have a plan. As the client, you should know, okay, on the other end, we want to make this go as smooth as possible. Our guys will work with you, and you should know, okay, we want this dresser here, this bed set up here, and we can do some minor adjustments, but, overall, we're not interior decorators.
Right.
But we will, accommodate the client as best we can.
Do you draw the line at dishes? I would like the dishes put. Would you do that?
Well, we do the unpacking piece, so we can take the dishes out and put them on the counter and remove all the boxes, but we just can't put them away.
I don't have a ballpark figure of what it would cost, but just talking to Joe here, looking on his website, and when you look on a website, the guy's got pictures of the people that work with him to move things. That got their name and picture. You've got something. Who did it? Well, this guy did it, or whatever, and that is most helpful. I haven't looked up any feedback from anyone on it. I guess there's places you can do that with. Are you a part of Angie's List, might I ask?
We are.
Good deal.
And Yelp and Google+.
Yelp?
Yes.
Al, have you heard of Yelp?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got to remember that.
And I guess like anybody that does home repair, you always say, or cutting down trees is what I'm thinking of. Are you insured and all that stuff? Is there certain kind of how you make that would be one thing you would do if you hire somebody to move you. Are you insured, and what kind of insurance they need?
Good, that is a good point.
Yeah.
We are going to take a break here, but we're going to say goodbye to Joe Beverley. Joe, thank you so much. I'll probably say a few more words after we're through here with you. And anyway, thanks so much for being with us, spending time here on the Mark and Cindy Show. Cindy, we're thinking of you, lady, and we're coming back in just a couple of minutes. Me and Al are going to discuss some things with us, particularly Alexander Hamilton Day now. It's phenomenal.
Hey, Cindy.
Later.
Till the job is done. I want to be a SEAL team member. I want to be a SEAL team member.
Hi, I'm Joyce with the Corner Pub in downtown Conroe. We're located at the corner of Simonton and North Main, just across the street from the courthouse. The week starts off Monday with open mic hosted by Alan, and Tuesday nights open mic hosted by Jeremy Bankhead. And on Thursday evening, McFarland Jams. There's nightly drink specials available every night, all night. And don't forget, live entertainment every weekend. To see a full list of events, visit our website at thecornerpubinconroe.com. So come join us at the Corner Pub, where the deli is open late.
Tri-County Services provides services to children and adults with mental illnesses, substance abuse disorders, and intellectual developmental disabilities in Montgomery, Liberty, and Walker counties. Offices are located in Conroe, Cleveland, Liberty, and Huntsville. Some mental health services offer focus on resilience and recovery. Services and supports for individuals with intellectual development disabilities focus on skill development and independence. Tri-County Services offers 24/7 crisis intervention and evaluation with crisis hotline 1-800-659-6994. And their mobile crisis outreach team. Psychiatric crisis treatment is available at Psychiatric Emergency Treatment Center in Conroe. Substance abuse services include treatment for both youth and adults. Substance abuse prevention classes are also provided for younger children and teenagers. Peer support services for veterans are also offered by Tri-County Services. For more information about all programs provided by Tri-County Services, call 936-521-6100 or visit our website at www.tricountyservices.org.
Tune in at 3 o'clock every Wednesday for Aperture and Shutter Speed with me, Tom Moore of TR Moore Photos.
And me, Dick,
If you are an amateur or expert, or if you haven't ever picked up an SLR camera before, Aperture and Shutter Speed is a show for anyone who loves photography and film.
Join the conversation with us by calling in or emailing us your questions. If you want to know what's coming up on Aperture and Shutter Speed, just look up our show page on irlonestar.com or look us up on Facebook.
Join us every Wednesday at 3 p.m. for Aperture and Shutter Speed, and remember,
take your lens cap off.
I want to swim the deep blue sea. I want to live a life of danger. I want to live a life of danger.
Al, I can't hear that stuff without thinking of Clint, your son. He is, I think right now he would like to try out to be a Navy SEAL if he wasn't, what, 37?
30, Mark, he's born in 78, so 36.
Okay.
Am I right?
No,
36?
34. Nobody knows.
78?
Yeah.
78,
35, almost 36.
He's 36 because he.
Thank both of you so much. By the way, Joe, I dragged his buds back on. We had to get a photo with him and Al. But also I wanted to ask him something else in leaving. The guy, if you can see him actually on YouTube when we come back, just a nice looking gentleman. Even if he was bad looking and obese like me, I would still say he's very persuasive. But it looks like you've got everything, not everything, I wouldn't know what everything is together, but you've got a great business acumen. I don't know, one of those things.
Yeah, foundation is what we've been focused on.
What is it you hope to do with your business? Expand, move, are we going to find you in Seattle at some juncture down the line? Or?
I don't think so. I think we're going to keep our roots right here in Montgomery County. Our goal is to really become the neighborhood mover. When you think about moving, we want to be that name associated with it, Blue Ox Moving, and really take care of the folks here in Montgomery County.
Boy, that's big. And from the Woodlands, I mean, I know you've got competition everywhere, but when I see, he's moving from the Woodlands instead of, say, from the Willis parking lot. I'm looking for a mover, or we're looking for anybody, to do something for us. It's very difficult to do, and if I were I would have no trouble if we were sponsoring Blue Ox. Regardless. Cindy and I we would not sponsor. I got some coffee today from Conroe Coffee. I recommend this lady. She's not a sponsor or anything, but it's great coffee, and Leo is just a doll. And I wanted to mention that. But if somebody said, hey, we're Fast Eddie's Pharmaceuticals, we meet in the parking lot of the bowling alley. We're not going to sponsor. I mean, we don't want them to sponsor
let's see
us.
How much money they got.
Exactly. But when you get an outfit that you can really, when you get a business that you can really promote through, you see professionalism, not knowing the price or anything, but I would have no fear going with Joe and Beverly with his
Are you
business.
hitting on him?
No, I'm not.
I'm blushing.
He's blushing. But this is a good professional deal, and I don't know any other movers. So
what's your website?
BlueOxMoving.com.
BlueOxMoving.com. Okie dokie. Well, one thing we've got, the phone lines are really heated up, Al, over this whole Alexander Hamilton thing and the 12th Amendment. And
I turned off the phone. I didn't know you
I'm
wanted
sorry,
to call
you
her.
didn't know. You might as well have. Anyway, Joe had a chance to leave and he didn't, so I'm going to mention this. There are so many facts about U.S. history that is phenomenal. And, people think, there's too much government. No, there's, you want an amendment to do that, they have them because trouble has arisen. And we need an amendment. When the Constitution was first drawn up and ratified in 1789, there were no amendments. But everyone there said, we're not signing it unless we put in something about a Bill of Rights, people's rights. And so they all signed it, understanding we are going to have state legislatures, and the Congress will draw up an amendment, state legislatures will vote on it. So they did that. But one thing they forgot to do was the 12th Amendment. I don't know if you're aware of this, ladies and gentlemen, and this is just, we might need some patriotic music behind us. I don't know. Not that Navy SEALs cadence thing. That's just eating me up. But they're way back when, and even today, we don't elect the president. The Electoral College does. It's each state legislature selects, or each party selects members to vote on December 15th. The election's the first Tuesday in November, but on the 15th of December. These people meet in Austin or they meet in Jackson, Mississippi or wherever, and they vote for the president. And it should be the person who was elected, got the most votes. And that's the way it's been, but they had a problem back in the election of 1800 whenever Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr were running. Jefferson was going to be the president, Aaron Burr was going to be the vice president, and you had John Adams over here running with his guy. But they had in the Constitution of the United States that when the Electoral College meets, they will put down two names. The name that gets the most votes will be the president. The name that gets the second most votes will be the vice president. Well, everyone after the election, Thomas Jefferson's going to be the president, but they put Thomas Jefferson's name, and of course the vice president's going to be Aaron Burr, and they put Aaron Burr's name down, and the numbers were the same. But everyone knew Thomas Jefferson's going to be the third president of the United States. But whenever it came time to announce him, they said, and now the president. Aaron Burr raised his hand and said, no, he's not the president. I got the same number he did. I'm going to be the president, and we're going to fight this out. Well, what do? We go to the House of Representatives to settle it. They went to the House, and there were, I don't know how many, almost 100 ballots, and they could not settle who is going to be the president because Aaron Burr had more support in the House of Representatives than in the Senate or anywhere else. And he could not get a majority of votes until an enemy of Thomas Jefferson stepped up in the White House. Not in the White House, in the Capitol, and he wasn't even a congressman. He had been Treasury Secretary, and he came up, it's Alexander Hamilton. And whenever he stood to the podium, Aaron Burr said, oh my gosh, this is great, because Alexander Hamilton hates Thomas Jefferson. They were not killer enemies, but they were just opposite on the spectrum of states' rights, Thomas Jefferson, and national government, Alexander Hamilton. And Hamilton got up and was doing just what Aaron Burr wanted. He said, ladies and gentlemen, I think one of the worst things we could do is to elect Thomas Jefferson, President of the United States. I think he goes against everything I believe in, and that would be a mistake. The only bigger mistake you could make is making Aaron Burr President of the United States. Aaron Burr could not believe it, and son of a gun, the House of Representatives said, good grief, if that guy that hates Thomas Jefferson that much says he should be president, and he was president. That really chapped Aaron Burr, and he later challenged Alexander Hamilton to a duel. And in this duel, there were a total of 6 people, including Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, who watched it. One of them didn't make it out of the duel, but all of the 5 that did had a different story about what happened. Ultimately, Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton. A couple of guys said what happened is Hamilton never intended to shoot anybody, and he fired in the ground, and then Burr shot and killed him. Others say, no, that's not it at all. Alexander Hamilton fired. Bottom line, we don't know really what happened there other than Alexander Hamilton died. When that happened, the Congress got together and said, we need to not ever let this happen again, so let's have a 12th Amendment, and that will be that when the Electoral College votes, they will have separate ballots, one for president and one for vice president. So to this day, whenever the Electoral College does meet at different state capitals, they will say the president will be whoever and the vice president will be who. So we'll never have a mix-up like that again. And, you know, if you were the Constitutional Convention sitting there, who would have thought that we needed to do this? Wow. It was weird, but that's what
I love learning from mistakes, right?
Exactly, yeah. Dick, I tell you. And that's why every amendment there was because something was overlooked.
You know, I actually thought that's when rock, paper, scissors was invented.
Yeah, that would have been...
to decide.
Well, you know, in the World Cup, in the group stages, if they tie on goals and everything, they decide from a flip of a coin.
Yeah. Really?
So there you go. I mean, that's a great way to decide what country goes through. And
I thought they had free kicks and all.
Well, no, this is the group stage is based off points, not off elimination. So if some teams tie on, they share the same goals.
Oh, that's how we got in, even though we lost.
Yeah,
I'm assuming. Wow.
So but sometimes you tie, which is a rare occurrence.
Today at 3:00, America's playing. Now in Brazil, that'll be 3:00. I think they may be in a similar time zone. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyway, that's really the heat of the day. But it's winter down there, Al, so it's not going to be near as bad. I don't know. It's probably still hot. But that is just the one
that's
of those
incredible.
Big deals. Incredible stuff. So many amendments to the Constitution. And, folks, we do not have time, but I will tell you this. There is a way to remember each and every one of them. There are 27 amendments, and you could tell me a number between 1 and 27. I'll tell you what the amendment is because I play a game in my brain, and I can share that with people. I shared it with my students, and it was miraculous. Al, a number between 1 and 27.
17.
That's weird. That is, before the 17th Amendment, the Senate was elected by state legislatures in Austin. We didn't vote for them. So as a result of that, they passed an amendment because state legislatures back then, if your state legislature was led by the Democratic Party, you had 2 Democratic senators. If it was Republican, you had 2 Republican senators. They said, that's not fair. We need the people to vote for them. And so they said, oh, well, the Constitution says the state legislatures elect them. Well, we need to change that. 17th Amendment says senators shall be elected by the electorate in the state. So the people get to vote on them. And the way you remember that, Al, is you think of 17 senators, and you'll always remember that. Isn't that fascinating? It's eerie fascinating. We got 2 more minutes. The 8th Amendment is cruel and unusual punishment. The way you remember this, Al, you cannot execute, you can. It doesn't say you can't execute anyone. The Supreme Court says, yeah, I'll execute them. But all the amendment says no cruel and unusual punishment, which is very relative. It's vague, really. But the way you remember it, Al, is you think of a punishment. One is a cat of 9 tails the pirates use. They tie metal strips on leather webbing, and they slap people on the back, and that's the cat of 9 tails. To me, that is one of the worst things you could do to yourself. The way to remember the 8th Amendment is to rip one of the tails off, and now it's a cat of 8 tails. And you think the 8th Amendment, and it works. The more stupid your hint is, the easier it is to remember. Isn't that eerie fascinating? It
is.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to a break in just a little bit. And when we come back, we are going to have an encouraging word. And this one, this verse we're going to talk about when we get back is the one that says, don't have any selfish ambition. And my question is, what other ambition is there? And it also says, consider others better than yourself. That's tough stuff. And we're going to discuss that when we get back in just a couple of minutes here on the Mark and Cindy Show. Cindy, get better, kid. Later.
The last thing them commies saw before they met their doom. The last thing them commies saw before they met their doom was a car 15.
You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio. Now for your daily weather report. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2014. Today's weather forecast will be mostly sunny with a high near 93. Later tonight, will be partly cloudy with a low around 76. South winds 5 to 10 miles an hour.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Donald Wick Public Relations. You've seen the billboards. That's right, Wicked Publicity. Contact them today at 832-326-1965 and visit wickedpublicity.com.
Hello, I'm Bonita DeRosa, Animal Control Officer for the City of Willis. We invite you to tune in to Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. for the Willis Hour. On the first Thursday of the month, the Willis Hour will be covering upcoming events and news about the city. Join in the conversation with your city officials and other leaders in the community. On the third, we will be doing a recap of the last City Council meeting. The mission of the City of Willis is to provide high-quality services, accountability, and professional commitment to our citizens. We pledge to provide those who live, work, and visit our city an effective government that is open and responsive to the needs and values of the community. Again, we invite you to tune in on Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 for the Willis Hour.
The largest flying museum in the world is the Commemorative Air Force, a national organization whose mission is to acquire, restore, fly, and educate the public about U.S. military aircraft and their role in U.S. history. Right here in Spring, Texas, the CAF owns an exceptional World War II warbird, the Flying Fortress Texas Raiders. Residing at David Wayne Hooks Airport and maintained by the Gulf Coast wing of the CAF, the Big Bomber is regularly opened to the public for tours and flights. The Gulf Coast Wing is a non-profit organization made up of volunteers who maintain, fly, and travel with Texas Raiders to promote the mission of the CAF. The Big Bomber has traveled all over the United States, reuniting veterans and the public with the historic World War II aircraft. Would you like to know more about taking a walkthrough tour or a ride in the iconic Flying Fortress? Perhaps you'd like to learn about volunteering to actually work with the crew on the aircraft. Go to www.b17texasraiders.org or join us on Facebook at facebook.com B17TexasRaiders. Or to speak to us, call 1-855-FLY-A-B-17.
Hey, bop, 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 bop. I wish I was back on the blacktop. I wish I was back on the blacktop.
I don't know what that means, Al. I wish.
Must be running in the sand or something.
Oh, okay, that would make sense. Al, if you run in the sand, that's tough stuff. You know, I saw Marlena, your wife, right in the sand once at New Mexico. That was one of the funniest things.
She wrote some bad, called me a bad name.
Yeah, apparently they were having a disagreement over something, and
which is very unusual.
I don't get it. Anyway, I was before Joe Beverley left. I mean, before he left, we were talking about moving and all, and he is with Blue Ox. And also, I'd mentioned Cindy Bean not feeling well, and I put on our Facebook something Cindy always mentions: prayer warriors. Will the prayer warriors please pray for so and so, and please pray for Cindy? And I think she uses the word warriors because, wow, does that sound powerful or what? If you say prayer. Something sloths or something. I'm lost. Yeah. It doesn't sound as good. And warriors, everyone wants to be a warrior, like, I guess. I don't know, like those Navy SEALs people do. But we definitely, Cindy believes in prayer. I do too. Please help her because, you know, you think, wow, it's a fall, it's puncture, your elbow is infected. That can lead to, it may be staph, in which case it's going to be really bad. And it could be one of those disfiguring things. Speaking of that, Al, I wanted to mention before I get into this encouraging word, you have promoted a gentleman over the last few months on your website, and the disfigured gentleman. And I'm not that.
Richie Bibbs.
How did you run into him?
Saw him on Facebook, I think it was. What's his disease he's got where he's got tumors all over him? I actually had him on my show here. Tumors all over his body.
Like Elephant Man type stuff?
Yes. But great guy. Real great.
Sounds like
and he's going to be making a tour. They're getting a van. Real quick, Mark. They're getting a van fixed up to where they can travel to talk about the... Dang it, I can't think of the name of his disease. But they're going to make an awareness. He's got a shirt that says, just ask. He doesn't want people to look at him and not be afraid. Just ask him. But he's going to make a tour, and I told him I want him to come to Conroe. He said he'd make his first stop here in Conroe, so I got to get that.
Oh, good. Yeah, we need him here. We need you with him when he shows up. That'd be great. I was reading this morning something, and it's weird, and I've mentioned it before, how you can read something a bunch of times and not really not speak to you much, and it did this time. I've never liked this verse before because I never understood it much. I'm looking in Philippians chapter 2, and it's going to be in verse 1 through 4. The first part of it sounds really good. The second part looks worrisome to me a little bit. It says, this is Paul writing, therefore, and by the way, he's writing while he's in prison, therefore, if there is any encouragement in Christ, if there is any consolation of love, if there is any fellowship of spirit, if any affection and compassion, make my joy complete by being of the same mind, maintaining the same love, united in spirit, intent on one purpose. Now that sounds great if we could all do that. And then he says this, do nothing from selfish or empty conceit. Selfish conceit or ambition is a word in another version. But with humility of mind, regarding one another as more important than you. Do not merely look out for your own personal interest, but also the interest of others. And when I saw that, selfish conceit, you know, I've wanted to do so many things in my life, and the reason I wanted it was for me to be, you know, the people at high school. Al got back from his 40th reunion a while back, and I don't know much about it, but, you know, I didn't go to many of my reunions, only went to one, and my thought was, you know, I never did anything. Oh, there's Mark Hader. No, who are you? And that's strictly my selfish ambition. I wanted to do stuff for Mark. And this verse says, no, don't do anything out of that. And the sense is, you know, if I had children, I don't. Al's got a son and all, and he wants the very best for Clint. And from my point of view, I have no kids, but if I did, I would want the best for them. And what Paul is saying here through the Spirit is, do nothing out of selfish ambition. In other words, do it for me. Because if you elevate me, if whatever you do, you say, well, I want to win this championship for God, that doesn't even make sense. But whatever you do in that sense, say, Father, I'll do this through your blessings. I need your help, your grace to do this. That is doing it through God, and it's not for selfish ambition. And if God looks at your heart and you have a relationship with Christ, you pray to him, you read and all, and you try to follow him, that is something that would be a blessing to him, which makes it a blessing to you. And then he says that one part, consider others better than yourselves. And my thought has always been, okay, I'm going to do that, but it's going to be false humility, because there are people out there that I just want to strangle sometimes. And the thought of, wow, you're better than me or whatever, I don't think so. And yet that's what Paul's saying to do. And yet I read it today, this morning, and it hit me. It hit me that he's not saying you're better than I am necessarily. My sense is he is saying that my consideration of you is more important than my consideration of myself. I got in a discussion with somebody many years ago, and it's kind of personal, but this person was telling me, considering Kay, do you love Kay? Yes. Well, I think you need to do this. Well, I won't do this because Kay, it would upset Kay, it would offend her. And she said, does Kay love you? Yes, she loves you, loves me. Doesn't she want the best for you? Doesn't she want you to be happy? Yes. Would it make you happy to do this? Yes, it would. Well, then you need to do it, because if you don't do it, it's going to make her unhappy because she loves you. But she doesn't want me. In other words, you can be explained out of stuff, but love is such that, no, if I do that, it's going to upset Kay, and I don't want that to happen because I think of her in that respect more highly than myself with that. And the number of times we have done, I know, Al, you've done it, Kay and I both do something we don't want to do because we think the other one wanted to, and that was the other person's argument. But in this sense, it's Paul is saying, I see, is that, look, don't, with respect, it's not consider them better than you, more learned or more powerful, everybody's stronger than me and better looking than me and all of this stuff. That's not it. It's your interest should be more than my interest, because that's what Christ was. Christ was hanging on a cross. And listen, you talk about, and I've got to leave in just a second, we've got to leave. In Matthew 27:39, I want to read this to you, Dick. Hang in there. I know we're having another group. We're having the toast of the city, the whoever they are coming on in just a little bit. Tell me, Dick.
Chamber chat?
Chamber
Toast of the
chat.
City
Toast
might
of
be
the
the
city.
new name, though.
They're getting a new name. Matthew 27. Christ is hanging on the cross, and in verse 39 it is said, and those passing by were hurling abuse at him, wagging their heads and saying, you who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. In the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and elders, were mocking him. And they said, hey, you saved others. If you can come down from the cross, you'll show you're the King of Kings, and we will believe you. In other words, do this and we'll believe you and you'll save us. Isn't that the thing? And Christ could have, he's tempted. Satan was still tempting him at the time. He could have gone against everything he wanted and say, okay, I will do that and I will come down and show you. And when I do come down and show you that I'm God, you are going to be so sorry. But he didn't. He stayed there and he took the pain and all, because those people who were making fun of him, he loved them. My purpose is to die right now for you. I hate to do this. This hurts like I'll get out, but it's the best for you. Folks, that is the most powerful sign of someone who considered others more important than him, more important than the pain he was enduring and the fact that God blamed him for all of my sins. That is powerful stuff. And if I can't read that verse about selfish ambition and considering others as thoughts or opinions or whatever they wish to do above my petty wants, well, shame on me. Anyway, that's Mark's encouraging word here on the Mark and Cindy Show. And Al, thank you so much for being here. I love a sounding board, and Al's that. And love this guy across from me dearly, even though we've had arguments in our lives. Like all brothers.
I can't remember one.
Cindy, get better. Our prayers are out for you, young lady. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, but you need to take some rest.
Come on, Cindy. Get better, Beverly.
With the seal, you'll deal with chief. With the seal, you'll deal with chief.
Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.